Good evening, I'm Romilly Weeks. Vladimir Putin has made a surprise visit to Russian-occupied territory in Ukraine, according to reports in state media. Videos show the Russian president driving through streets at night in the port city of Mariupol, the scene of some of the fiercest fighting in the early part of the invasion. It's the first time Putin has travelled to newly occupied territories since the war began. Chloe Keedy reports.
The Kremlin claims this is President Putin driving round Mariupol in the dead of night. More than a year into a bloody war of his making, this would be the closest he has ever come to its front line. But those aren't battle plans, they're rebuilding plans, according to Russian state TV, which claims this was Mr. Putin being shown round a brand new block of flats before stopping for a spontaneous chat with some of its residents. Outside, he asked them whether they liked it. And they said, yes, it's warm and cosy, thank you. One woman replied, it's a small piece of heaven. But Putin unleashed hell on this place. The battle for Mariupol was one of the longest and bloodiest of Russia's war with Ukraine, and the setting for some of its worst atrocities. Hundreds of people were killed when Russian forces bombed the city's theatre, which was being used by families trying to shelter from the destruction outside. This time, President Putin had his sights set on Mariupol's newly refurbished concert hall, but only to admire it before making himself at home. This seemingly surprise visit was his first to now Russian-occupied Ukrainian territory since the war began, and it's been met with suspicion on the Ukrainian side. Every person from Mariupol knows that Russian planes, Russian artillery destroyed their home city. The war criminal has come to the city of Mariupol. The criminal has returned to the scene of the crime. President Putin is now officially wanted for war crimes by the International Criminal Court. And this visit, just 2 days after that arrest warrant was issued, will be seen by many as a brazen act of defiance. Chloe Keedy, ITV News.
In the last few minutes, it's been confirmed that the Swiss bank UBS will take over struggling Credit Suisse in a deal that's hoped to stem a looming financial crisis. The huge takeover will be supported by the Swiss government and has been given the go-ahead here by the Bank of England. It's hoped to calm the market, but thousands of jobs could be at risk. It's been confirmed that Boris Johnson will submit a dossier of evidence ahead of an interrogation by MPs over whether he lied to Parliament about the Partygate scandal. He's up in front of the Commons Privileges Committee on Wednesday, where he faces a fight for his political life. Our political correspondent Harry Horton is here. Harry, what's Boris Johnson's defence expected to consist of?
Well, we're expecting this dossier to include messages between Boris Johnson and senior Number 10 officials and senior civil servants. And we're expecting him to argue that because he was advised that there was nothing wrong with these gatherings in Number 10, then he cannot have knowingly misled Parliament. Now, this comes after earlier this month, the Privileges Committee submitted its interim report, including photos of these apparent lockdown gatherings in Number 10. In that report, MP said it should have been obvious to Boris Johnson that there were breaches of coronavirus rules. Boris Johnson has been receiving legal advice ahead of his appearance before MPs this week. His spokesperson today said that Boris Johnson will be vindicated by the committee. Now, there is a majority of Conservative MPs on the Privileges Committee. We don't know what it will find, but there's a chance it will find against Boris Johnson. If that happens, then all MPs will get a vote on whether to agree with its findings. And if that happens, there's a strong possibility that Boris Johnson would lose his seat as an MP. So this is very serious for Boris Johnson this week.
Right, Harry, thank you. To football now, and Manchester United are through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup after coming from behind to beat nine-man Fulham. United were 1-0 down in the second half, but a dramatic few minutes saw Fulham forward Willian sent off for handball, while manager Marco Silva was also shown a red card for dissent. Then striker Alexander Mitrovic was dismissed for his reaction to Willian's red card. Bruno Fernandes scored the penalty to bring United level, who went on to win the game 3-1. Earlier, League Two minnows Grimsby Town had a chance to pull off an upset in their quarter-final clash against Brighton. Their Premier League opponents didn't go easy on them, but nothing could take away the pride of the Grimsby fans. Chris Scudder was watching.
It was the day Grimsby and mascot Harry the Haddock took on a big fish from the Premier League. The small fry from the fourth tier hadn't got this far in the Cup for 84 years. But it took only 5 minutes for the men from the East Coast to be caught in Brighton's net.
And rattled in on the rebound.
Dennis Undav scoring the opening goal. Mitoma let them off the hook for what should have been a second goal before half-time. But Brighton's seagulls were circling, and a moment of class from teenage striker Evan Ferguson reeled them in with that killer's second.
Evan Ferguson, he's 18 years of age.
No disgrace for Grimsby, but they were all at sea again here, and the young Irishman helped himself to his second. The Premier League club went trawling for more goals and finished with 5 without reply.
And Brighton do have a fifth.
But this was Grimsby's day. They'd won down the coast at Premier League Southampton on this famous cup run. And despite a battering, Harry the Haddock could still hold his head high. Chris Scudder, ITV News.
And that is it for now. I'm back with the late news at 10 o'clock. And as always, you can find updates on our streaming service, ITVX. Until later, good evening.
Today, expect to see some heavy downpours all over the country. Heinz no added sugar beans sponsors ITV National Weather.
Hello, a very good evening to you. Hopefully you've seen a little bit of sunshine today. This week our weather will be unsettled. Low pressure dominates, so expect spells of rain over the next few days, with winds increasing in strength as we go through the week. Temperature-wise, around average for the time of year, but by next weekend it will be turning a little bit colder. Now overnight tonight, some heavy rain across Northern Ireland, southern Scotland and into northern England, moving eastwards as we go through the night. To the far north, some breaks in the cloud, allowing for a touch of frost, but most places will have plenty of cloud cover. There's some showers in the southwest and we're free from frost as we head into Monday. A wet start again across that northern belt of the country. Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England. A wet start to the day, improving later. To the southwest, rain will be moving up during tomorrow afternoon, eventually reaching the Midlands and Wales by the end of the day. Temperature-wise tomorrow, 14 or 15 Celsius in the southeast. The best of any brightness for eastern counties tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Heinz no added sugar beans sponsors ITV National Weather.